Welcome to Self-Worth Club, the podcast designed to help you embrace your inner courage and unleash limitless potential. I'm here to guide women like you in rising above self-doubt, cultivating unwavering self-belief, and fearlessly embracing change. Each episode provides you with tools and guidance for your journey towards empowerment and building a life you feel truly fulfilled by. So join me on this transformative path toward a life you adore, where belief in yourself opens doors to endless possibilities. Hello, welcome back to Self-Worth Club. I'm your host, Zoe. Really happy to have you here today. I know it's been a minute since I've recorded. I went through so much in January, it was absolutely insane. And if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen all that's been going on. But I'm really excited to be back with you and be talking to you today about wellness, habits, routines, and finding new hobbies. These are requested topics from Instagram, and if you ever have anything you want to hear me talk on or have specific questions, even if they're small, they're not a whole episode topic, I can work them in like I did with this one. So feel free to reach out to me on Instagram, just Zoe Borntrager. You'll find me if you just type in Zoe Born. I also am phasing out the podcast Instagram page, Self-Worth Club, and just doing everything on my main Instagram. So make sure you're following me there if you're not already and tagging that page instead of the Self-Worth Club Instagram. But let's get started. Let's jump in with wellness tips. I want to start with just some simple tips to improve your overall health and well-being. And I want you to know it's not about what you eat or how often you go to the gym, but it's also about small changes that you can make in your daily routine to have a really, really big impact on your health. There's so many little facets of it. So some ideas, and let me take away this giant wobble ball from my dog so you don't hear it. He's literally clenching on with all of his teeth. Yeah. So, some small things are swap out your morning coffee for a nourishing gut health drink like kombucha. And also go for a balanced, savory, protein-packed breakfast versus a sweet, like a chocolate croissant or a cinnamon bun. That's something that you don't want to eat right away because it'll cause a glucose spike. So along with that, pay attention to ingredient labels. Stop checking the calorie count. It does not matter as much as the ingredients that you're putting into your body. Check your labels and look for whole foods over highly processed snacks. You don't want a bajillion ingredients that you can't even pronounce in your food, right? You don't want to be putting that in your body. So start just reading ingredient labels and get familiar with what you want to be putting in your body. Next thing is prioritize your sleep and create a calming bedtime routine to help you regulate your cortisol levels. I'm going to talk a little bit more about routines in a minute, but the last little tip I have for you is just remember that being healthy and focusing on your wellness, it's not about perfection. It's about finding out what works best for your body and you and your routines, your life. Perfection is not something you're ever going to get to. Really what you want to focus on when it comes to overall your wellness and your habits and trying to make something a habit is just don't miss it twice. Don't miss it 2 days in a row and you're doing pretty damn good. And also if you got close to the goal, that is still something to celebrate. So if you follow me again on social media, you've seen I got a walking pad and I've been trying to aim for 10K steps a day. Sometimes it's a lot. Sometimes I'm sitting at my laptop for a while and I don't have a desk for it yet. And so it's hard for me to get all of that in. But I'm still celebrating when I get to 7,000 or 8,000 or even over 6. These are still achievements, even though I'm not getting it perfect every single day. I'm still making progress and that's still something to celebrate, right? So just something to keep in mind. Next up, we're going to talk about morning and night routines. So these set the tone for the rest of the day and can significantly impact our overall well-being. So I want to give you some tips for each, my advice, and how I structure my mornings and evenings, because that's a big question for people. It's like, how do I do it? And again, it's what works for you. But one thing I want to emphasize immediately here is you don't have to wake up at 5 a.m. and have 20 things checked off your to-do list by 8 to be productive best, right? The morning routine that's best is the one that works for you. It's not the cookie cutter plan that you found on Pinterest. It's what feels good for you. I have a slow morning usually, and that's okay. Waking up early enough to just have some chill time to yourself and get morning routine things done each day, that's a win. And it's going to be different for every single person. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you to wake up at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. If you get to work a little bit later, or you work from home, or you have your own schedule, like, you can wake up a little bit later. You can wake up for what feels good for your body. And that's different for everyone. Like, I'm never going to give you some cookie cutter advice because that's just not realistic. So for me, I do best with a little more sleep, with a little more rest in bed. And so just figure out what feels good to you, what works best for your routine, and give yourself a little bit of time in the morning before you have to run out the door. Don't be like waking up, getting dressed, and heading out with a granola bar, right? You want to give yourself a little bit of time. And it's a good idea to spend the first 30 minutes after waking up off of your phone just to reduce any cortisol spikes. Another thing that I suggest in the morning is opening up all of the shades first thing and let the light in. Feel some sunlight on your skin. It helps to regulate your circadian rhythm. I also like to drink a small cup of kombucha first thing on an empty stomach, and this is for better digestion throughout my day. Some experiments say that it helps to just like regulate you. And so I follow that with a full glass of water before I drink anything else, which is usually later, like a cup of coffee or an energy drink, like Alani News. But yeah, I try to get those two things in first. A high protein savory breakfast is also really great for balance. Like I said earlier, my typical breakfast is 2 eggs, fresh bread, sausage, and some pickled beets. Or I do like an egg scramble with egg whites, leftover veggies and meats from previous dinners. I always love those. I also find brain dumping super helpful in the morning if it wasn't done the night before. I kind of switch back and forth. Again, like, I flow, I vibe, like, whatever's feeling right to me in that moment, that's what I do. It doesn't have to be rigid. I find that, like, you're gonna burn yourself out if you try to be, like, super rigid with your routines. So you have to find what works for you and be flexible. But I brain dump even if it's in phone notes. It doesn't have to be in a specific journal. It can be if you want. It's what works for you. But I dump out everything about the day that I want to accomplish, what I have going on. If something pops in my head of like, oh shoot, tomorrow I have to do this, I'll write that down as well and just like put it at the bottom of my list. The point is just to get everything out so it's not taking up space, right? And then I'm going to run you real quick through what my regular morning routine looks like. I wake up around 7:30. I open all of the windows. I make the bed as much as I can. If the dog is still in it or if Noah's still in it, I just kind of make my side and like set it up. So it's easier for him, or, you know, when the dog gets out, I'll make it all the way. But then I make the dogs breakfast, which they're bougie. They eat a raw diet and it takes some prep. So it takes me like 10 minutes to make their breakfast. I drink my glass of kombucha. I fill up my water cup. I change. I get ready, which is just like brushing my teeth, brushing my hair, putting some clothes on and maybe some blush. And then I get on my walking pad for about 20 minutes while I drink my water. That's when I'll check my phone notifications and usually like dump out my to-do list in my phone note and get it organized. First, priority first. That's not what I want to do first. That's what I think is most important to do first. And then I note what can be done like the next day if I need to. If it's getting a little long, I'll separate it out. You don't want to put more than like 5-6 things as like priority top things on your to-do list that's overwhelming, and that'll lead to a habit of, I don't have to finish my to-do list because I never do. So, and about 25 minutes after I've been walking on the treadmill, I'll go and make Noah and I breakfast. By this time, it's probably like 9:30 a.m. All right, and then let's get into night routine. Some suggestions I have here are establish boundaries with your phone. Tidy up your space, and also engage in just like really simple self-care rituals, like skincare or journaling before bed. So my night routine looks like this. I have my phone set to automatically go on Do Not Disturb around 9:30, 10. And often I'll set it earlier. If I'm like just chilling and I'm like, all right, I'm done, like I'll just set my Do Not Disturb early. This is a feature that I absolutely love. It's a boundary that I've had for a long time, and it's a cutoff time. It's a regular thing. And at this point, my phone goes to that mode automatically, and my brain also like flips a switch. It closes that door. Whatever pops up on my phone, I know that like I can attend to it tomorrow, right? I don't even think about it. It's just, that's it, you know? I'm asleep basically, even though I'm up for a couple more hours. And let me plug my laptop in real quick. This episode is messy, but that's just like life, right? My dogs bawl in the beginning. If you're watching the video, I'm literally holding a toy right now and he's tugging my arm. My computer almost dies and I have to plug it in. Like, there's just a lot happening, but that's all right. All right, so jumping back in, yeah. And I love also the Do Not Disturb, because my favorites list of my contacts, like my mom, Noah, my sisters, my brothers, my dad, like if anyone calls me twice, it'll ring through. So it's not that my phone's just like off or on airplane mode. If there's an emergency, people can still reach me. But if I have like notifications throughout the night, they're not going to disturb my sleep. They're not, you know, it's silenced through that mode. So highly, highly recommend setting that up if you don't already have it set up. And when I'm ready for bed, I start by putting away all of the dog toys that are out, because these nuts literally leave stuff all over the house. I will put all of that away. I will fold all of the blankets that are on the couch, and tidy up the kitchen. And then my get unready routine is super simple. I usually change into my pajamas, brush my hair, brush my teeth, put some leave-in conditioner in, wipe my face with a water wipe. I fill up my big cup. And then once I'm in bed, I do a few more things. And I keep just like these random things in a basket at the side of my bed, because I find that like it's a comfy place to end my routine, and there's no excuse for forgetting it, because I get in bed and do it and it's there. So I know it's getting done every single night. And that is just like a light oil on my face. And then sometimes I use my rose quartz roller, which I also keep there, to roll out my face. I put lotion on my hands or feet, wherever I need it. And I finish with just some Aquaphor on my lips before I go to sleep. So like I said earlier, my phone's already on Do Not Disturb by that time, and it stays like that until the morning. And then once I'm in bed, I usually watch a calming show with Noah, like the Great British Bake Off or like a house flipping show. And then we shut it off and knock out. So also, if I find my brain is running with a busy to-do list for the next day, things that I don't want to forget, I'll open my phone notes and I'll dump everything out then. And that helps me just like release that so I can be like really calm going to sleep. So that's why I said earlier, sometimes I do it in the morning, sometimes I do it at night. It depends. It's really, you know, what's best for me. That's the whole point of having a routine. It has to work for you. So last thing I want to mention here with routines is the Ivy Lee method. This is the daily routine that experts recommend you implement for peak productivity, and it is similar to what I do with my brain dump and organization. It's just 1, write down the 6 most important things that you need to accomplish each day. 2, prioritize those tasks and focus on one at a time until it's complete. Multitasking doesn't work. Don't do it anymore. 3, repeat the process daily to stay organized and focused. So what makes it so effective is that it's simple enough to actually work. It forces you to make tough decisions. It removes the friction of starting and requires you to focus on a single task. Like I said, multitasking, don't do it. It's a myth. Being busy isn't better. You're not going to do great work if you're splitting up your attention to multiple things at once. It's just, right? That makes sense. Something that I suggested to a client on Thursday too that I wanted to mention was to set timers with getting tasks done, because she shared that she has a hard time staying focused. This is really good if you're similar. So with that, you set a 30-minute timer. You work on one task until the timer goes off, starting with the priority top thing on your to-do list. Once that 30 minutes is done, you set a 10-minute timer and you take a little break, which looks like going outside, grabbing a snack, playing with your dog, or maybe reading. It does not look like scrolling on Instagram for 10 minutes. And then you repeat this until your to-do list is done. If you finish a task in the middle of your 30 minutes, you can just move on to the next thing in your list. And after the cycle has repeated about 3-4 times, you could take a bigger break, like 30 to 45 minutes, and then continue it again. All right, second to last, I want to touch real quick on overcoming procrastination. So this is something we all struggle with from time to time, and understanding the science behind it can really help us a lot here. So again, we all do it. Don't deny it. I procrastinated writing this podcast script for a full day. I meant to do it the day before I did, and it's all right. It got done. Here I am. You're going to get it soon. So let's dive into the science a little bit. Behavioral psychology research revealed a phenomenon called time inconsistency. This is the tendency to value immediate rewards more than future rewards. So think about it this way. There is you now, and then there is your future self. When you set goals like losing weight, starting a business, you're making plans for your future self. And when you think about your future self, it's super easy for your brain to see the value in taking aligned action to make those goals happen, right? The problem is that your future self can set goals, but it can't take action. Only the you that is now can take action. So when the time comes to do it, you're no longer your future self. You are the you that is here and now. And that version of you really likes instant gratification. So again, if it's a long-term goal, like losing weight takes time, you're not going to get that instant gratification. So that's hard if that's your goal. So these two versions of yourself are constantly battling. Like, yes, I want to lose weight, but also Dunkin' Donuts just released their limited edition brownie batter donuts that are only for this month. And like, that sounds really good. The me that is now wants like 1 or 12 right now. You know? So you can't really rely on long-term consequences and rewards to motivate your present self. Instead, you have to find a way to move those rewards and consequences into the present. So here are a few different strategies from James Clear. Love, love, love all of his advice. Like, everything he puts out is just so good. So much research into it. But this is what I came across in my research. So option 1 for this is temptation bundling. Basically, you bundle the behavior that's good for you in the long run with the one that feels good in the short term. So I do this by watching Netflix while I walk on my walking pad. And I'll give you a few more random examples. So you only get a pedicure while you're sifting through overdue emails on your phone. Only watch your favorite show while you're folding the laundry. Only listen to books or podcasts that you love while you're exercising. Get it? Option 2 is make the consequences of procrastination more immediate. So here you're forcing yourself to pay the cost of procrastination sooner rather than later. For example, last year I signed myself up for Pilates, and I would book classes out weeks to a full month in advance. And I would make sure to pick the earliest class times because I knew I wanted to start my day earlier, and that if I booked it out in advance, I'd have to go. So I was booking multiple 6 a.m., 7 a.m. classes and mixing in hard ones too. And usually, like, this was my future self looking out for my present self. Because when it was 5:30 a.m., I really didn't want to go. Especially when it was January and it was freezing cold outside. Like, no. But I had to go because if I didn't, Club Pilates would charge me like $10 for the missed class on top of the pricey membership that I already had. So I was like, my future self was making sure that my present self would feel the consequences immediately if I wasn't to take action and do that thing that I planned on doing. You get it? So another way that you can do this method without an expensive membership is by making like a friend your workout buddy, for instance. You plan out what you want to do with them, and if you were to cancel the morning of, like, you're letting them down, you look kind of like an ass, and you feel bad, right? So you're more likely to do it. Also, apparently there is a service called Stick with 2Ks where you can place a bet on yourself, and if you don't do what you say you will, the money will go to a charity that you hate. Isn't that hilarious? But also could be like, that could really work. So, all right, option 3 of 4 is design your future actions. This is called a commitment device by psychologists. So it's similar to me saying, like, I was booking my workouts in advance. This is when you plan your future actions ahead of time. So, for example, you can form better eating habits by purchasing better foods and also by prepping the food so it's an easier choice. So the other day I bought a huge bag of kale from the farmer's market. So I took the time to wash it, dry it, and massage it so I knew it was ready to throw onto recipes, and then just leave in a bowl in my fridge that way. And I've been using way more of it than if I had just left it in the bag unwashed, unprepped, right? Easy for things to go bad that way. Another thing is you can stop wasting time on your phone by deleting games and apps that waste your time on your phone, or put a restriction on them. And another good idea here is to build an emergency money fund for yourself by using an automatic savings app. This is something I do. It's called like Optoron. I don't know how they expect you to say that, but I can share the link in the show notes for you, and if you use it, we both get $5, so that's cool. But anyways, I love it. I have a few accounts set up in there. One that is saving for me to pay my taxes since I usually owe. I have an emergency fund, and I also have a cruise fund because we want to go on a cruise this summer. So that's been saving, like, behind the scenes for me, a little bit of money every day, every week, every month, until it reaches my goal in January, or in July, sorry. And then I'll book it. So super cool. Option 4 is make the task more achievable. Friction causes procrastination. So if your habits are small and easy to start, you'll be less likely to procrastinate. The 2-minute rule is really helpful here. This is when you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. And as you get deeper into the habitual side of things, you can let that momentum carry you into making it longer. And another way to do this is to just break down your task into bite-sized pieces. Hope that helps with your procrastination. The last topic we're touching on here is finding new hobbies. When I asked on my story what you guys wanted included in this wellness episode, I had someone specifically ask how you can find a new hobby again. So, hobbies are a great way to just be with ourselves, and they have so many positive side effects like stress relief, fun challenges, personal growth, maybe social interaction or self-confidence. The better you get, boost your productivity, keep you from being bored. Like, there's just so much. So here are some quick tips on finding a new hobby. 1, take stock of your free time. Are you looking for a hobby that you can do overnight before bed, or something for the weekends? Be super realistic about how much time you want to give to your new hobby as you're picking it. Number 2, consider what you already like to do. Make a list of things you enjoy to do in your daily life. Look at it for inspiration. And you can also ask yourself, like, if I had an entire day to just, like, do something fun, do something stress relieving, whatever your, like, intention behind the hobby is, what would I do? Like, and just see what pops up for you. You can also reflect on your favorite childhood hobbies or, like, activities. That's number 3. When you were you super creative as a kid? Did you love to paint, or did you always, like, perform for your family, like to dance? Were you always outside? Were you obsessed with your easy bake oven? You know, whatever it was, I bet there's a grown-up version that you can do now, and that is a really good place to start. Number 4 is start small. Don't pour a ton of money into your new hobby. Think about things that you can start with, like what you already have, or you can inexpensively, work your way up once you're invested and you enjoy it. Number 5 is sign up for a class, because you don't want to frustrate yourself figuring out your new hobby and burn out before you even get going, right? If it's too hard at the beginning, you're going to be like, dang, this could have been really fun, but like I suck at this and I'm just done. So you can try to find an intro class, a workshop, or even online class. Or if you can't find any of the above, just go to YouTube. There are other people that put free videos out all the time on how to start different things. Number 6, last, is just get a friend to join you. Having someone try it out with you makes it way less intimidating. And then I just have a quick list of hobbies, like ideas that you can consider. Reading, cooking, baking, fishing, crocheting, pickleball, pottery, writing, hiking, gardening, yoga, learning a new language, painting, boxing, photography, dance, puzzle solving, calligraphy, and candle making. I hope that you can find something, or that maybe that sparked another idea. And that's really all I have for you. Tips on enhancing your wellness, establishing healthy habits, routines, and finding new hobbies to enrich your life. I want you to remember that enhancing your self-worth is a journey, not a destination. And to thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Self-Worth Club podcast. If you enjoyed this, please, 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 please post about it on your social media and tag Zoe Bordertrager. Remember, not the podcast Instagram, since I'm scrapping that. It literally lights me up. It means so much more to me than you will ever know when I hear your feedback, or when I see you share my podcast with the world. Like, that is everything to me. So just know that you're bringing me so much joy when you do that, and I really appreciate you being here. I will see you next time. Bye.